Hello, Michael Finn, Holistic Exercise and Lifestyle Coach, and today I'm going to show you how to really stretch the hip flexors as well as stretch all of the fascia in your body to get a better stretch into your hip flexors so that you can get better hip extension for life, running, jumping, all that kind of good stuff. So here we go. So I'm on my knees. I'm going to go into a half kneeling position. So I'm going to bring my right leg out in front and have my right foot flat on the floor. I'm going to have my left knee down on the floor. And so if we're kind of thinking if we're all squared up forward here, I want my left foot to be a little bit out to the left so that I'm actually internally rotating my femur here on the left, okay? Because we want to stretch in 3 dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional world. Our muscles work in 3 dimensions and have muscle fibers crossing in all different directions so that it doesn't matter if your leg's internally rotated or externally rotated, your hip flexors can actually work. Well, we need to stretch them in a way to where we open up all those fibers. If you only stretch your muscle in one plane of motion, well, then it gets long in that plane of motion, but it may not be long in other degrees of range of motion. So we really want to push all of the different ranges of motion. So I've got my hips tucked under. I've got that foot a little bit out to my left. And a way to think about it is if you take the outside of your ankle there on the left, so the left side of your left ankle, and you try to push that down to the floor, that'll kind of help keep your leg pinned there and focused on keeping it right there so that you get a little bit of extra stretch here in the hip. So we tuck all this under. So this is where you build strength. You can use your glutes. Tighten up those glutes to pull those hips all the way under so you get a stretch in that hip. Use your low abs to pull up so that you're trying to stretch those hip flexors as well, okay? We don't want to lean forward because the top of the hip flexors actually attach all the way up behind your belly button on your spine. So we don't want to lean forward and take that pressure off. We actually want to try to lengthen our spine. You want to try to get your rib cage as far away from your pelvis as you can so that you can add more stretch to the top of that hip flexor stretch. You want to try to maintain all of that as you slide your hips forward and reaching that knee down into the floor so that you get a bigger stretch. You can even slightly shift a little bit to your right, just like a 1/4 of an inch at most, so that you get a little deeper stretch into that hip flexor, okay? Lengthening all of that out. Always breathing the whole time, lengthening your spine. Now, we can play around with our arms and our upper body to create tension in the fascia so we get a deeper stretch once we're here. So you can take your arms straight up over your head and reach towards the ceiling with the palms of your hands so that your fingers are pointing out to the sides and they're splayed out and your hands are pulled back towards your wrists as if you're holding a big plate up above your head and you're trying to push that plate into the ceiling. Or you're just trying to push the ceiling up and just really lengthening so that you're inhaling and lengthening, trying to think about reaching down into the floor with your knee and reaching up towards the ceiling with your arms. You might find that that helps to get you a better stretch. Sometimes people get a better stretch if they reach out in front of them with their arms and holding in the same position, pulling those fingers back, reaching those arms straight out forward but having the fingers pointing down towards the ground. Some people feel a better stretch that way. Some people feel a better stretch if they have one arm up and the other one forward like this. So my left arm is straight up towards the ceiling, straight above my left hip, and my right arm is straight over the top of my right leg. Some people feel a bit better stretch that way. And some people even feel a better stretch with your arms straight out to the sides with the fingers pointing down and those hands pulled back towards the back of the wrists. So, and you can do all of them and play around with the different positions as you are doing the hip flexor stretch, and that will decompress as well as strengthen. While you're really trying to reach, you're actually creating a lot of core strength through your body and turning on all of the little muscles so that your body will function better as well as feel better and decompress. And then of course you're going to do the other side too. So kneeling on my right knee, got my left foot out in front of me with my foot flat on the ground. I've got my right foot a little bit out to my right. It's not much. It's literally like 5 degrees at very most. Got the outside of my right ankle pushed down towards the ground. got the hips tucked under, so I'm really firing that glute, firing that right glute, really firing with the low abs in the front to pull up, so to get a stretch. I'm holding all of that and I slide forward, so that you can't lose that when you're sliding forward. Lengthening the spine, lifting that rib cage far, far away from your pelvis as much as you can, so that you're working all those core muscles. And then find the good arm position for you, and it might be different one side to the other. So one side might be in front, the other side might be over the top. So I always start up top and find what everything feels like there. Then I come down and forward. That typically doesn't feel nearly as much of a stretch for me, so I typically don't go here. The one I actually feel the most, well, especially on this side, is my left arm out in front, right over the top of my left leg, reaching way out that way, and my right arm straight up towards the ceiling. This is the one that I feel the most. And so then I'll do 5 to 10 breaths in this position, really lengthening and stretching everything out to really open up those hip flexors so that my glutes can function better, so that I can run faster and jump higher, as well as just get up and down from the floor easier because my hips will function better. And it helps your knees function better too. Better functioning hip means a better functioning knee. So, if you got questions, you want help putting together a big stretching routine for yourself to improve your flexibility for the rest of your life, reach out to me via email or text or something along those lines. You can always find me over at finfit.com, as well as my free ebook and all that other kind of good stuff. So, hope you all have a happy and healthy day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have fun stretching all of the fascia in your body.